Happy Thursday, 5th graders. Let's get right to our word work lesson. We are learning some great idioms this week. We learned snake in the grass, someone who is sneaky and deceitful. Break your neck, to put a great deal of effort into something. And to laugh your head off, to laugh hysterically or to laugh a lot and loudly. Today's idiom, mile a minute, is perfect because we read it several times in chapter 3 of the Watsons Go to Birmingham. I think it was mentioned or used at least 3 times. I think the author used it 3 times or more. And I think we also read it in chapter 2, if I recall. The teacher talked a mile a minute when she took Kenny around to read for other classes, like the 5th grade class where Byron is. Well, what does that mean, a mile a minute? So, literally, this road represents a mile. We know that a mile is quite far. If you're walking or running, it's quite a ways. So, if you do and a minute is short, right? So, a mile is far, and a minute is short. So, it's this idea of doing something very quickly, figuratively, because you're doing a lot in a little bit of time. So generally, if somebody talks a mile a minute, they're talking very fast, or they're going on and on and on and on, and they don't stop or pause or anything. So if someone's doing something a mile a minute, they're doing a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. Okay? So here is one of the examples from our text. In the Watsons Go to Birmingham, Rufus talks a mile a minute. On page 34, the text states, he was yakking a mile a minute, saying stuff like, your mama sure can make a good peanut butter sandwich. And how come these kids are so darn mean? So, Rufus talks a mile a minute. He talks very quickly, and he has lots to say. We're working on the suffix less, meaning without. So we've learned fearless, without fear. Harmless, not able to cause harm, unlikely to cause harm. Endless, something that's endless, seems to continue on and on forever, or there's a very large amount, size, or number of something. Okay, today we have the word useless. Useless. The Watson family's furnace was useless, so they had to wear many layers of clothing to keep warm. So what does that mean if the furnace is useless? Well, it's not working. It's not useful or effective in any way. So sometimes I might say, scrolling on Facebook is useless, and I haven't done anything productive. Or if something is malfunctioning, it doesn't work anymore, I could say, this flashlight is useless. It needs more batteries. So if something's not useful or helping, then it's useless. Okay? We're working on the Greek root therm, which means heat or temperature. We've learned thermostat, hypothermia, thermal. So again, I'll just review yesterday's. We talked about thermal clothing, which is something you wear underneath to keep you warm. Today we have the word thermometer. Thermometer. You're probably familiar with this. It's a piece of equipment that measures the temperature of the air, your body, etc. So here's a more typical thermometer these days, where it just scans your forehead and it can read your temperature. In the older days, when I was a kid, the thermometer would go underneath your tongue to measure the body temperature. This is a type of thermometer used to measure the temperature of cooked meat. So people put this in whatever meal they've cooked, chicken, beef, or whatnot, to see if it has reached the appropriate temperature, which means it's cooked well. So we use something like this in the kitchen to measure temperature. Here's a sentence. When we go to the hospital, our temperature is checked using a thermometer. And of course, right now during this pandemic, there's a lot of usage of thermometers to check people's temperature, to see if they should enter a location, if they should it's a warning sign that they might be sick. So thermometer, using the Greek root therm, is our Greek root today. We have the word useless, the suffix meaning less, without, and a mile a minute. Great job, 5th graders.